Buenas tardes, hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿De qué país eres? De México. Muy bien, buenas tardes. ¿Qué hora es en México? Más o menos 11 horas. Okay. En Ucrania 9:43. Ajá, ajá. Buenas tardes, muy bien. Bueno. Entonces, todos hablan español, nadie habla inglés, veo. Entonces, para hoy estoy preparando dos partidas en el match Bogoljubow contra Euwe. Partida 7 y partida 8. Antes de esta partida, okay, so there is English listener, so I can speak English. But I have question if everybody understand Spanish, I can speak Spanish. See, if somebody prefers English, I will speak English. So depends. I want to. Muy bien, gracias. Well, but okay, only speak English. Okay, so I hope everybody can speak English. So I don't want to disappoint anybody. So I will speak English. So okay, what is topic for today? Euwe and Bogoljubow played his match in 1928, and after 6 games, the score was 3.5 against 2.5 in favor of Max Euwe. But how we will see, Yefim Bogoljubow managed to win this match. So how he did this, we will consider games and 6 and 8, 7 and 8, and both of them Yefim Bogoljubow won. So now I will start with game 7. Bogoljubow is white and played d4, knight f6, knight f3. Yes, amazing achievement by Bogoljubow, and with victory in this match, he became world amateur chess champion. Next year, he played against professional world champion Alexander Alekhine and lost. But okay, it was next year. But also in the same year, in 1928, I mean, he played another match against Max Euwe, and again won with same score in 10 games. So knight f3, g6, c4. Bishop g7, and now if somebody following my videos about this match, we can remember that after knight c3, Max Euwe didn't play d5 immediately, but he played castle, and in one game Bogoljubow played g3, and after d5 he lost, and another game it was classical King's Indian, which game was ended with draw. It was knight bd7. Hello. But now Bogoljubow playing g3, so he is not hurry with knight c3, because if now black plays d5 immediately or after castle, so white has no reason to develop his knight immediately on c3. More flexible to play castle, and in some moment white has other opportunities. For example, if black plays knight c6, white can play e4, if knight b6, d5, and if knight a5, queen e1, knight c4, knight c3, and then b3 is coming, and white has quite comfortable position. That's all of theory. Of course, white can play knight c3, same line, but it's not necessary. At least white has choice. Knight c3, I mean knight b6, and now e3. Something like this. But Max Euwe played c6, very solid line, and Bogoljubow played modern line, bishop g2, d5. He played castle. It's very interesting, because usually castle wasn't popular move, because this is pawn sacrifice, and only more or less 5 years ago this move became popular again. I remember in Zagreb was in Zagreb 2019 was game between Melkumian and Dreyev, and d takes c4 was played, a4 played Melkumian. Idea of white, if castle, to play knight a3 to attack the pawn, if bishop e6 to play knight g5, if bishop d5 e4, if h6 takes, and now probably d5 is best, maybe d5. I'm not sure that d5 is the best, but maybe if knight e5, bishop takes g5, probably something like this. So I only remember that evaluation of this variation in favor theory evaluation of this slide is like white is better. So usually strong players, and Dreyev as well, playing knight e4 with very complicated game. So if somebody wants to penetrate more deep in this line, I recommend to see game Melkumian against Dreyev from Zagreb tournament. But Euwe didn't take immediately, so he played castle. Yeah, okay, it's step by step, so there is question how to study games of masters. Okay, each move you need to understand why it was played, what alternatives had opponents. For example, now after castle. So here d takes c4, serious alternative. But Euwe played castle, and now white has several alternatives. So Bogoljubow played b3. Also, this slide is very popular now. In this time, it wasn't so popular. What is alternative? Okay, so white can play knight c3. This is gambit line, but we have seen already that here more flexible for white, because white has also possibility to develop knight on a3. But anyway, it's possible, and white has quite serious compensation. Same idea played Fabiano Caruana, even with minus tempi. I mean, it was game Carlsen-Caruana. It was something like this. Knight f3, g6. Carlsen was white, Caruana was black, so bishop g2, castle. d5, c3 played Magnus, and now Fabiano played something like this, a5, and next move knight c6. So same idea, even with extra tempi. with minus tempi, black is playing this. But although Magnus won this game, but during the game, Fabiano was at least not worse. So, idea of sacrifice pawn, it's quite interesting. Also possible to play queen b3. Also, after queen b3, black has many opportunities. For example, queen b6, knight c3, rook d8 is possible line. Also possible just exchanging the center and play knight c3 or to play knight e5 immediately. So it's not another type of position. But Bogoljubow played b3, very modern line, very popular now. For example, this line was played also in World Championship between Magnus Carlsen and Vichy Anand. And Vichy played bishop f5 after bishop b2, knight bd7. And now Magnus made a dubious move. So he played knight c3. Knight bd2 looks like more precise, but because after knight c3, d takes c4, b takes c4, knight b6, black has very good position. Another very popular line here. Okay, hanging pawns d4, c4, it's nice for white, but black can take here and play immediately c5. So, and of course white cannot play d5 because knight will go somewhere and white will just lost the rook or piece, but okay, so main theory is bishop b2, c takes d4, knight takes d4, queen b6, queen b3, knight fd7, something like this. Many games was played. But okay, Euwe played knight e4. Thanks for subscription, thanks for support my channel. I will try to show my best. And after bishop b2, okay, the most logical looks like something like bishop f5, for example. Many games. Also a5 idea is possible. Sorry. DMU, what is DMU? DM? I don't understand. Okay, so, but direct message, email, yes. Okay, so you want to have my email or what? Okay, okay, my email, it's not a big secret, so I can write. Okay, but uh, okay, so you can it publicly. Okay, so don't give it publicly. Okay, I don't know what to do. Somebody already sent me puzzles. Okay. Okay, please write your email address. I will write you. So, what is your email address? Please write. Please give me your email address. I will write you from my email. So, which boy and after what I need Yahoo. Sorry. Okay. I hope. Which boy? Thanks for subscription. So please write me end of your email address. So yes, but which boy and what after? Gmail or Hotmail or what, or Yahoo or what? I don't understand. Okay, so anyway, usually players on c4 immediately. D takes c4 with idea after b takes c4, c5. But Euwe played knight e4 and after bishop b did which boy, but after this, okay, what is domain if you are male? Male or what? Max Euwe, and now queen c2 played suddenly Bogoljubow. B takes c4 looks like very natural. I don't know why Bogoljubow did so. Playing e4 game idea if c takes d4 because b6. So some problem with stream problem. Okay, so I will make mhm. So I'm here again, and I want to ask if everything is okay with voice and with sound. Yes, I'm back. So thank you. Is it everything good now? Oh, fine. So I explained it that after knight e4, probably knight e5 is not the best idea, but okay, queen c2 here looks like pretty logical, and knight is attacked, and black cannot protect his knight with bishop f5 because g4 is unpleasant. Black is losing material here, it's more or less obvious. So after queen c2, what black should do? So queen b6 can be considered, and probably knight d6 can be considered as well. Okay, for example, if knight d6, white can just take, 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 queen c3. And this position looks like promising for white. Knight a5, knight bd2. White has very active bishop on g2 and initiative in queen's flank. If queen b6 now, probably bishop a3. It's pretty interesting. This situation looks like a little bit dangerous for white because for black because knight is hanging. So bishop f5 again is bad because g4 is coming. So f5 looks like only move, but f5 it's at least a risky line for black. So white can play even knight bd2 to prepare rook b1. So it's dubious for black. So b takes c4 was totally possible, but now I mean b takes c4. But Yefim Bogoljubow decided to play queen c2, also reasonable choice. Again, bishop f5 is forbidden because g4 is coming, and black will lost material. If, for example, c3, not necessary to take, white can play just bishop f1, and then to take the piece. So knight d6, b takes c4, bishop f5. Maybe more reasonable was idea to play c5. D takes c5, now take, take, take. Queen c3 is not only move, also there is idea queen c1 and queen h6. Also, I don't know, maybe it's even stronger. Knight g5 is threat, if f6, knight c3 is coming, and rook d1, and white has many threats. So maybe queen c1 is even stronger than queen c3. Bishop f5 played Max Euwe, but after queen c1, now there is problem for black that they cannot push c5 immediately, because after c5, d takes c5, takes, knight takes c4, queen takes b7. Pawn is not protected, so this line doesn't work. And Max Euwe played knight a6 with idea to prepare c5. I don't know, frankly speaking, white knight a6. Maybe more reasonable was to play knight d7 with same idea. I'm not sure why knight on a6 is better than on d7. And black wants to play c5. Okay, of course it's not so simple. White can play knight bd2, c5, d5, this type of position. And it looks like this position is more pleasant for white, but also it's not so simple. So, for example, black can take and play queen b6. It's playable. So knight d7 looks like very reasonable alternative, but knight a6 played knight bd2, and now queen c8. Queen c8, it's less natural. So again, for me, c5 looks like more natural reaction from black. And okay, I want to take queen d4. If d5, it's possible to take and play queen b6. Although now there is difference that queen e5 is possible, but queen e5 will maybe not so strong because f6 simply white cannot obviously take because they are losing queen. So after f6, queen e3 probably, but now even black consider this idea. If d takes e6, rook e8, idea to take. If e7, rook f7, and everything is okay for black. Of course, this slide is not forcing, so white has many other possibilities. So after queen b6, maybe queen c3 is more precise. Here now, okay. Personally, I would prefer have a black knight on d7, not on a6. But if queen b4, of course, white plan is not to exchange queens, but to play queen e3. And in some variation, queen h6 there is idea. Okay, but everything is good because if nobody writing, I am worried if there is nothing wrong with sound or with video. So please confirm that everybody can enjoy the process with maximum pleasure. So far is okay. Okay, so nice. And queen c8 is very strange move. So white has a strong pawn center. Black is not fighting with this. So, but okay, probably we will see. Queen c8. I will try to understand what was idea of my. Okay, probably he wanted to play bishop h3 and exchange issue, but it's not so obvious because after bishop h3, white can push e4 and have advantage in the center. So Yefim Bogoljubow played rook e1, very natural reaction. He is preparing a e4, and now after bishop h3, he has possibility to play bishop h1. No, it's not necessary also. e4 is possible, of course. It's possible, but maybe bishop h1 to preserve his bishop from exchange, it's also possible. Only question knight b4 can be, because now knight c2 looks like threat. But I think that Bogoljubow about knight h4. Knight d7, now knight h4. No, but now knight h4, it's hardly good because I can play bishop e6, and at the moment you have no d5, so because after d5 takes, knight takes c4. So after bishop e6, only move knight d2, and what is this? Even this idea I can consider. Knight b6, if c5, knight c4, if c takes b6, knight takes b2, queen takes b2, bishop takes d4, and then I will take on a1 and take on b6, and I have rook and two pawns against two knights, and it looks fine for black, especially because white knight is on h4, which is very fast. So I don't think that knight h4 is good idea because of tactical reason. White has serious weakness on c4. So knight bd2 I think is the best. Okay, c5, d5. So this. If queen b6, probably queen c3 is the best. This idea if queen b4. Okay, it's not clear because if queen e3, knight takes c4 probably is possible. And no. Although even here white has compensation. For example, white can take and play knight h4. It's something sharp. Or white can play rook fc1 simply to play this endgame. Although here I'm not sure that white is better in endgame. After takes, and some move, for example. Also knight h4 now, this idea is, okay, maybe knight f6 possible. So complicated endgame. Okay, so knight d7 I would prefer, but queen c8. So night before I was started to consider this idea knight c2, but well, probably it just doesn't work. So I'm sure that both players considered knight before, and I think Max Euwe refused to play knight before because knight h4 is coming. Black has no time to play knight c2. Knight c2 is just losing because after knight c2 white is just taking, and after queen takes e5, f4, black can resign. So if not play knight c2, so if we go with bishop, white can play a3, and black knight needs to go back, so obviously bad for black. So it's a very important resource, knight h4. So knight e4 played. He's trying to block e4 at least. Knight b3, very creative move. It looks like consider knight on e4 like a strong piece. Totally possible, of course, was to take, and queen e3. It's totally possible alternative. White has a good position, of course, here. But knight b3 even more ambitious because now white has a positional threat to play knight h4 and attack pseudo-active black pieces, knight on e4 and bishop on f5, and also knight on a6, a little bit out of play now. So very so I need to admit that in this game Bogoljubow demonstrate very modern attitude to the opening strategy. I mean, in Grünfeld line with g3. So bishop h3, because if not play bishop h3, not so easy to recommend good defense against knight h4. For example, if rook d8, knight h4, it's extremely unpleasant because will take. Also g4, not only take on f5, but also g4 is threat. So bishop h3 played Euwe and bishop h1. So Bogoljubow understands that he had center advantage and space advantage. If you have space advantage, better not exchange pieces. So he doesn't want to exchange a bishop. Queen e6, logical. Queen f4. Another active move. Looks like he is preparing knight e5 at some moment, or just want to play a rook ac1. Okay, of course it depends what black will do. Black also have some choice. So for example, knight b4, now it's possible to consider this idea knight c2. Okay, maybe this explanation. h5, king h7, and bishop h6, it's not a good simple reason. Because, for example, if you play h5, I am doing pass, for example, a3. If you play king h7, I will just take here and knight g5. So this plan not exist. But okay, knight b4 is possible, but knight fd2 is unpleasant. After knight b4, black losing control c5 square and takes. Knight is attacked and queen takes c4 also is possible. I was thinking that white is winning the piece after this and rook a5, but queen b6 is possible and white cannot win anything. So why Max Euwe didn't play it knight b4? It's okay, maybe just rook ed1 was planned, totally possible. Also, knight e5 is active move here. Immediately attack black knight e4. Maybe even this rook ac1, rook ad1, but knight e5 played Euwe Bogoljubow, and Max Euwe played knight f6. Okay, so knight is under attack, but also knight d6 looks like a reasonable idea. Try to attack c4, but probably d5 is question. After c takes d5, white has choice to take with bishop is possible. But okay, if take with bishop, queen f5, queen f6, queen c8. Okay, it's complicated game. For example, this white has the idea to play c5. I'm not sure this is wrong, but if c6 is coming. So knight d6 is possible, but maybe d5 was the reason. Also, of course, white can play c takes d5, but I'm not sure how big white advantage after queen f6 or queen f5 also. So knight d6 was interesting, but Euwe played knight f6, which looks a little bit passive because now bishop g7 is blocked and white has more time to improve their position in the center. So rook ad1 played Euwe Bogoljubow. Another logical move was rook ac1 to protect feasibly pawn c3 and in some variation to prepare knight d3 and knight c5. But rook ad1. Queen f5 played Max Euwe. Difficult to say what is better here. But anyway, looks like this position is already unpleasant for black because center is strong. Maybe knight g4 was the best try, but after knight takes g4, if queen takes e7 is possible. Black is losing material. If bishop takes, d5 is unpleasant. Black has many hanging pieces, so already not so easy to play. So queen f5 he played, but again Bogoljubow doesn't want to exchange pieces. So queen e3 looks like queen takes e7. In which moment queen takes e7? Yes, if queen takes g4, queen e3, suppose. Yes. I mean just queen e3, sorry. Not queen takes e7, yes. Yes, queen e3, it's correct idea. And now, okay, but now maybe e5 is possible. The idea to attack c4 pawn, if d5 or d takes e5, so c4 is hanging, black has contra. So probably knight g4 was reasonable idea, by the way. Knight f3, bishop h6 is possible. And black has contraplay, so knight g4 looks like logical move. But we need to also calculate concrete variation. Maybe even d5 is possible. Because if bishop takes e5, d takes e6, bishop takes e4, e takes f7, king takes f7, g takes f4. This is also simple. So even knight b4 is possible. So knight g4 looks like reasonable alternative, at least in this position. If knight takes g4, queen takes g4 with idea to exchange as many pieces as possible. So queen f5, queen f5, rook takes f7. No, rook takes f7 impossible because rook is hanging. Okay, so queen, but after queen e5, queen e3, now knight g4 already, okay, I cannot ignore to somebody, so everything. On Word document, no, in PGN I will save all the files with my video, but not in Word document. And now, if knight g4 and queen takes g4, e7 pawn is hanging. So if bishop takes g4, okay, sorry. Okay, now white can even play f3 probably, and only after bishop h3 to take on h7 maybe, like a possibility. Of course, it's not only. Maybe even immediately it's possible to take, because if rook e8, I can take on e7, I can play queen a3 probably. I am not sure that black has compensation for the pawn. But okay, so knight d7, and again we see that Yefim Bogolyubov doesn't want exchange pieces, so knight d3. So very modern strategy, and not typical for that time, such a move. Rook f e8. Knight b6 was possible as well, but after knight b6, it's possible to play same in the game, like in the game, and to prepare e4 and to have total control and centrum. Sometimes black can have trouble with bishop on h3 after knight f4. So rook f e8, and now queen c1. Excellent move. Not so obvious. Now e4 is prepared, and black cannot f4 e5. Okay, f4 is possible. E5, I'm not sure that e5 is the best for black, but takes f6 you want on it. Frankly speaking, it looks like dangerous for black, at least. White has knight f4, or bishop e4 is very strong here, and then knight f4. No, e5 is hardly good, so f4 was logical alternative as well, I think. It's remember a little bit game Gelfand against Grishchuk, final game from candidates tournaments, which was played from another Grunfeld. It was played from this variation. Without c6, d5, takes, bishop g2, castle, knight b6, knight c3, knight c6, e3, rook e8. I recommend to see Gelfand against Grishchuk. So Gelfand in some moment played knight h4 and then f4, and rook on e8 was out of play because Gelfand didn't allow play e5. So same method. Oh, Gelfand Grishchuk I will write here. So f4 was possible, but queen c1 played Yefim, and he's simply preparing e4, and then probably d5. Knight f8. Knight f8 doesn't look like a good move. So e5 probably was only a move. If, for example, e4, black can play queen h5. If d5, play bishop g4, and there is some contraplay at least. If rook d2 can be considered bishop h6. So e5 was only a resolvable move, and I don't know why Euwe didn't play this. Okay, even this position is objectively bad for black. Black should play e5 because it's only chance to create contraplay. So knight f8 is certainly... where do you paste it? Okay. Usually I can send by email if somebody wants PGN file. I made it several times for spectators who asked me to have PGN file. Sorry, is it true? Twitch, so you would disturb... Okay, that's true that my wife suggested me twitching, but well, rest of the question I will not answer on YouTube. Okay, so knight f8. Okay, knight f8 certainly bad move because after e4, white has total control on the centrum, and black has no any contraplay. So queen c8, everything is passive, and d5. Yes. Okay. I also thank you very much to my wife for her idea for me to twitching. And okay, white has many good moves here. Even f4 is possible. Aesthetically looks good, f4, to have full control in the centrum, but Bogoljubow decides that it's time to direct attack. He wants to exchange bishop and try to attack black king directly, and in some variation knight f4 is very unpleasant threats. This bishop g4. Okay, it looks like bishop takes b2, normal move, and if knight takes b2 is worse than on d3, so at least some progress for black. Okay, maybe white is better anyway, but okay, black can try to do something like knight d7, for example. So, and if queen takes b2, queen takes c4. Okay, so black took the pawn, and I don't see concrete refutation. Probably white has good compensation, of course, after knight f4, but it's not totally clear. Okay, maybe this was idea of Bogoljubow, and for example, if bishop d7, d6 is coming, and if e takes d6, knight d5 is coming, so probably this but okay. But now black can try even bishop f5 firstly, because now if c5 I can take c5, if not c5 immediately, I can fight for c5 square and try to organize defense. So bishop takes b2 looks the best way anyway for black. But Max Euwe played bishop g4. Strange move, by the way. Rook d2, and now Now, first of all, here black cannot take because knight e5. Okay, maybe can queen c8, not losing immediately, but more dangerous than with bishop on h3. Rook e4 is also possible. Yes, rook e4 is winning. Yeah, you are right. If queen c8, but how is winning? Queen c8, if rook c2, queen f5. I don't see direct win. Knight d4 also. Okay, it's very unpleasant. Queen h5 only move, but and just queen takes b7 maybe. Okay, so bishop, queen c8. What is your no. Yes, knight d4. Yes, correct. Bishop e4 not possible because rook on e4. Okay, so bishop g4 looks like very strange move, and now he played e6. So now black has king on g7. It's very dangerous tactically because white has some checks. Queen b2 check, immediately played Bogoljubow. f6 played Euwe. Rook c1. b6. Looks like white wants to push c5, for example. If e5, c5 is coming. If e4, just knight f4, and white has very strong pawns. d5 and c5, and black hardly have sufficient contraplay. For example, this. If g5, even knight g2 can be considered with the idea knight e3. Although knight e2 is possible as well. So Max Euwe decided to play b6, but now c6 square is very weak, and Bogoljubow immediately played knight d4. He wants to bring his knight to c6 as soon as possible, and black position looks like totally collapsed. So e takes d5, c takes d5, and queen a3. Rook c8. Maybe knight b8 is more stubborn, but of course position is bad for black. White can just play rook c2, and if rook c8, white can take several times and take on a7. So pawn up and better position. Maybe something else is possible as well. Rook c8 played. It looks like even worse. Rook c2, now he's losing more than one pawn. Queen. Okay, you anybody who has more spectators. PGN, I explained that I can send by email. If somebody can write his email address, I can send you. So Mitsu999, but please not forget end of email. So Gmail, Yahoo, or something else. Okay, so after Rook C2, looks like YouTube to find email. Okay, I just explained that I'm happy that I have my spectators and I am not envy spectators. Okay, so it's choice for everybody what is more interesting and what is more attractive. Okay, I'm trying to do what I want to do. So now Euwe is losing because queen is attacked, pieces has no coordination. Okay, maybe knight c5 it's possible to play, but after knight c5, okay, at least black can fight somehow, because if, for example, if queen takes a7, queen d7, and here white only one pawn up and no guarantee for win. So if queen takes b6 here, knight takes d3, rook c7, probably it doesn't work because rook e1 check and bishop h3 check, and after king f3, knight e5 check, and after king f4, g5 mate suddenly. So, and if white is taken immediately on c5, rook e1 is unpleasant somehow, so probably black can fight. Okay, white is much better. Probably the best for white is to play h4 to prepare king h2. And black has a lot of problems, because now I'm ready to take, and after check I always will have king h2, and black has no useful moves. But okay, at least... but black has queen a6, so after queen a6, white is forced to take, and okay, of course, white is better, but it's a lot of play. So knight c5 was necessary to play, so it's strange why Mitsu 999. Okay, Mitsu 999, but what is in the end? Gmail or what? Yes, but end. Please give me end of your mail. It's same story. So Mitsu 999, and after this sign, what I should write? Yahoo, Gmail, Hotmail. How to use it? Okay. Okay, so knight c5 was totally necessary, and also white is much better. It's, I think it's still a lot of play, so it's not a winning position. Not a winning position yet for white. I don't know why Euwe didn't play knight c5. So natural and looks like only a reasonable move in this position. But he played queen b7 and he lost immediately, so he totally collapsed, and after d6 game is over. So queen cannot go because a6 is attacked, so after rook e4, h3, it's knight c5 he played and resigned after h takes g4. Okay, another strange choice. So okay, bishop takes h3, it's normal move, but of course white is totally winning after rook e2. Okay, so Bogoljubow won quite impressive game with very deep openings, not just opening strategy, but strategy between opening and the middle game. So, and after game 7, we have equal score, 3.5 and against 3.5, and now we will continue to look their games, and I don't know what he forgot, but he should play knight c5 here, and here it's a lot of play yet, at least. White is better, that's true, but it's... I recommend h4, maybe h3 is good idea. Maybe even better. And now after bishop takes h3, queen takes a7. This is point of my idea. Now black, if plays queen d7, I can take on d3 after, on b6. And now I have this, and I have this square. And here probably white is winning. Knight takes f2, okay, but bishop f3. Anyway, black will lost queen, and white should win this. h3, bishop d1 is idea. Okay, bishop d1 doesn't look serious because I will just play this. And what? So h3 is strong. Strong. Probably h3 position is, yes, h3. But anyway, okay, maybe bishop, after bishop f5 I can take on a7, check. Anyway, black should play this, but okay, maybe h3 even stronger than h4. Okay, so with this nice victory, Yefim Bogolyubov equalized score in the match, and now we will consider game 8. Max Euwe white, Bogolyubov, Yefim black. And d5. So bishop b4, Bogolyubov decided not play Nimzo Indian, so he played d5, and after bishop g5, he played knight bd7. Of course, hard to believe that his hope was this trap for children. So, but okay. Maybe if somebody forgot this primitive trap, it's always good to remember. So e3 played, Max Euwe c6. And now white has choice what to play. Well, knight f3 played Max Euwe, so it means that he agreed for Cambridge Spring variation. If white doesn't want to play Cambridge Spring, it's possible to go to Carlsbad structure. In very good version for white, now white still on g1, so white has possibility to play knight f3 in future, or knight ge2 as well. For example, Alekhine against Capablanca played knight ge2 line. And after bishop e7, he played this, and after this, he played knight g3. So this I recommend to see Alekhine Capablanca. But okay, knight f3. Please write separately Gmail, Yahoo, or domain after email sign. So knight f3 is option. To max a, another popular line, and after knight takes d5 by is between two possible. So queen d2 is possible, and also rook c1. After c3, b takes c3. Now take on a2 is very risky because after bishop d3 and castle, white has more than enough compensation. So usually experts are playing bishop a3, rook c2, b6. And now bishop e2, bishop a6, castle, bishop takes e2. White can take with queen, white can take with rook as well. So many games was played. For example, Carlsen Mamidyarov was quite impressive game. I will write Carlsen. But okay, knight d2, another good line, bishop b4, queen c2, castle. And now bishop takes f6. Obviously, it looks like a concession for white. So white giving his opponent two bishops advantage and also developing to helping opponent to develop bishop. So bishop takes f6, surely it's dubious or just even bad move, okay, but I will put this sign. Okay, the main theoretical line is bishop e2 here. Now, if d takes c4, white can take with slightly better position. If e5, white has idea to play castle, e takes d4, knight b3. And c5, it's another theoretical line. Castle, c takes d4, knight b3, queen. I remember I played against Kramnik this position with black and against Bakro with white, but I don't remember. So queen b6 played Bakro at least. So a lot of games was played, a lot of theory now, but okay, bishop takes f6 is dubious. Knight takes f6, bishop d3. And okay, black has no opening problem. Rook e8 played. Euwe Bogoljubow, he is preparing e5. Another very logical move here was just play c5. No, c5. Yes, okay, c5 is possible as well. Yes, opening problem. So black. Here, bishop on d3 is good because after image, for example, if bishop e2, c5, knight b3, queen a4 is possible. And, or just even take, firstly, if b takes c. With d3, white queen is protected. So this idea not totally work, but anyway, there is no problem for black. Black can, for example, just take and queen c7 is possible. If knight takes c5, b6 is coming. If c takes d5 is impossible with c4. So c5 is possible, yes, with this idea. Queen c7 now. Not queen a4 because knight takes c5, but queen c7 is totally possible. But Bogoljubow played rook e8. This is total draw? No, I don't think so. This is a playable position, approximately equal. But surely not total draw. So c5, I like move c5. But Bogoljubow played rook e8. Okay, matter of taste. Castle e5. Also possible. D takes e5. White has other options, so c takes d5 is possible. Knight b3 is possible. For example, this. Probably e takes d4 was idea, but now knight b3 is possible. And white want to take with knight. Playable position. For example, queen d8, knight takes d4. Black cannot take with knight because h7 is hanging, so bishop takes c3. This position is approximately equal. But okay, so d takes e5, rook takes e5, c takes d5. So after c takes d5, black has isolated pawn, so Bogoljubow didn't want to play with isolated pawn, so he took on c3. Now, if white is just taking on c3, black has better structure. For example, rook takes d5, so knight c4 played Euwe, queen takes d5, queen takes c3. Now white has good structure, but black is trying for contraplay. Rook g5 played Bogoljubow, so the threat is obvious. And after e4, black can just take on e4. White cannot utilize ideas rook e1 because g2 is hanging, so f3 looks like forced, bishop e6. So we have such a position. Bishop h3 was harmless for white because rook f2 is coming, but now, okay, so black wants to finish his development somehow. Rook on g5 a little bit strange, but we'll see. So rook a d1 played Max Euwe, natural move, of course, not only move. White has many reasonable moves. Even before, it's logical to improve his position in queen's flank and to control c5 square. Maybe even white is slightly better, because now rook a d1 is threatened, black can have some problem with his queen. Also, somewhere problems can be with his rook on g5. So before looks like a very promising move now, and probably even white is slightly better. But okay, rook a d1 played Max Euwe. Of course, never possible to play with another rook because pawn f3 is hanging. So rook a d1 he played, probably before was more precise. Rook a d1, and now Bogoljubow played queen c5. So probably rook a d1 was inaccuracy, because now knight d5, it's unpleasant threat and not so easy understand what white should do. Also, black is ready for moves like rook d5 as well. So I think before was much stronger here. Switch to lichess, much more aesthetic. Okay. Maybe I will use lichess when I will comment a candidates tournament. It will be quite soon, in 10 days, so please follow. So before I have feelings that white is probably better, because if some natural move for rook d1, black has problem with his queen. And what else? Okay, black can play something like queen d7, but if I will commentate live or after the game, I think both. Some I'm planning to commentate live. Okay, probably the best queen d7 to prepare queen c7 and rook d5 in some moments, so something like this. But after rook d1, queen c5, suddenly not so clear what white should do, because black has a strong queen on c5, and what Euwe played before, after knight d5, and now queen takes g7, it looks like forcing, and now this position after knight c3, white is losing c5 pawn, and it's very obvious that black is much better, because their pawns in queen's flank are much more dangerous than white pawns. So probably rook d1 was mistake, but okay, after queen c5 maybe white has something better than before, but not so easy understand what, because there are several threats. Maybe white has something, but what? I'm considering bishop e2, but for example, bishop e2 is possible. But now b5 it's promising. Okay, but after, yeah, b5 is promising, because if before knight d5 again, knight d5, white has this idea also. Queen takes d5 and rook d1, and what is this? The situation is very unclear, because if black wants to keep material, queen f5, knight d6 is coming. But queen h3 also. And white has suddenly problem with his king, because if bishop f1, queen takes f3, it's possible. Yes, but yes, queen f5, and okay, maybe e4 is correct. But okay, now queen f6, even I'm not sure that white has enough compensation. So yes, okay. Okay, but now you see that after such a natural move like rook d1, it's extremely difficult to play now for white, because after queen c5, if queen a3, for example, black can just take. If knight takes, bishop takes a2 is coming, and white just lost the pawn. So what is the best for white here? I'm trying to understand. Probably some prophylactic moves like queen c1 was the best, to avoid knight d5 with tempi. Of course, black has very comfortable position even after rook d5 with threat rook takes d3, if bishop e2, rook d8. So rook d1 is a mistake. It's just a natural move, but actually it's mistake. So before was much stronger here. After b3, where b3? Here b3 you want? b3, what about b5? Yes, b3, b5. Black is just winning. If b4, knight d5 is coming. On b3, it's not possible. b5, if b4, knight d5. Black is winning, so b3 is just bad. But okay, we see that white is already in trouble. So probably queen c1 was the best, but after queen c1, anyway, white position is pretty unpleasant. And So Max Euwe played b4, but after knight d5? What about bishop takes h7? Maybe simply king h8. So knight d6. Now knight d6. Oh, yes, it was possible, but I can just take and play, for example, like b6, and white has bad structure. Rook will go to a5 or c5, and okay. Of course, white has chances for draw, but it's not a pleasant position for white, surely. Probably better than in the game. Bishop takes h7, it's interesting to check, because if take, queen d3 check, if bishop f5, this looks like takes and takes. This is okay for white, but after bishop takes h7, black can just play this, and also bishop is hanging, and many pieces are hanging. This is hardly playable for white. Yeah, white can give exchange, of course. Rook takes d5, queen takes d5, bishop d3, but hard to believe that it's enough compensation, because black pieces are pretty active. After rook d8, bishop e2. Okay, it's some chances to survive, but extremely dubious. So Euwe took on g7, and after knight c3, black is clearly better. Rook a1 played, Euwe. Rook d2 looks like more natural, but after rook takes c5, anyway, white is in trouble. Also, maybe it's possible to defend these positions. So rook takes c5, more or less force it, and just play this. Maybe white can defend this position. Knight d5. And now b5 is very unpleasant threat, and not so easy to understand how. And also knight b4 is threat. If rook d1, knight b4 is coming. So probably this was reason of rook a1. So Max Euwe wants to have rook protected. Rook d2, rook d8, maybe rook d8 is possible as well. But after rook d8, rook c1, I can try. And if bishop takes c4, I have rook takes c3. Okay, knight takes a2, now interesting, for example. So white is already in trouble, but okay. So rook takes c5 is enough reason, because this is very simple. Yes, knight takes a2 is possible. If rook takes a2, rook takes d3, black has many threats. If not take, knight b4 is coming. Okay, so rook a1 he played, rook takes c5. Bishop takes c4, rook c3, bishop a6. In which moment bishop takes c4? You mean in this variation? No. Rook d2. Here. You mean after rook c1, bishop takes c4 and bishop a6. Okay, but now king f2. This is nothing for black, because if rook d5, rook takes d3 after rook c1. Rook takes d3. Yes. Surely. Rook takes d3 wins immediately. That's true. Yes, so white cannot play this. So rook a1 looks like more forced. It's unpleasant to play such a move, but no choice. So rook a1. Now Bogoljubow took on c5, also interesting, looks like rook other moves. So, for example, Okay, if rook d8, knight d6 is possible, and black cannot take on c5 because knight takes b7. And white is ready for rook c1 somehow. So, but what is problem with rook d5? It's a very interesting question. So I like rook d5 now, and now it's not clear what white to do. Looks like very bad for white already, because if bishop c2, rook takes c5, and white losing material. So if bishop e4, okay, black can take on c5 immediately, or take on e4 firstly, then take on c5 with excellent winning chances, for example. This looks like only move, and take. Rook takes c5, knight d6, and just play b6. So. Okay, now white has some chances for draw, but black is much better, of course. So rook d5 was a very interesting alternative, but Bogoljubow took on c5 and rook fc1. Now white consolidated his position somehow, but anyway, pawn structure is much better for black, because their pawns is much more dangerous than white ones. And rook a b1, it's strange move in my opinion. So the most logical, because rook on a1 can be useful for defense. So the most logical, in my opinion, looks like something like bishop f1 probably to play. Or maybe even a3 to play something like this, because a2 pawn is permanently weak. So okay, or start with bishop f1, or just to play a3, if rook d8, bishop f1, something like this. And although black has more pleasant position, it's very far from win. White can try to defend this position with accurate play. But rook a b1, it's risky, because in some variation a2 pawn can be hanging. So I don't like this move. Rook d8, bishop f1, b6. Now he played e4, another strange move for me. So I don't understand. Black has no threats, and white to play b4. Very natural to improve his king f2 consolidate pieces. But e4, it looks like a very bad move, because he allows rook d4, knight e3, and already now take on a2. Probably black has some problem with knight f5. Maybe not immediately, but somewhere knight immediately knight f5, rook takes f5. So if rook takes c5, black can take. If knight f5, king f6. If rook a1, rook a4. If knight takes d4, this is bad for white, because black passed pawn. So maybe bishop takes a2 was possible, but okay, it's risky somehow already. Also, maybe, for example, if takes, if now rook a1, black has rook a4. So bishop takes a2 probably was not so stupid. But Bogoljubow decided to play rook d2, just solid move, and of course it's big progress for black, because rook already on d2, and a2 pawn is hanging. So it's this, knight c4. Black can take on a2 immediately. So why he didn't take? Probably he afraid knight e5 and knight takes c6, but well, black has a big advantage here. Well, for example, even simply knight is possible, and now knight d2 is possible, or just a5 is possible. It's very bad position for white because white king is not playing, and the black has to pass a pawn. So rook takes a2 was good move, but okay, Bogoljubow played rook c2. Probably this is a good move as well. So knight e5, knight a4. Rook b4. Why rook b4? Okay. Okay, anyway, position is bad for white, but maybe a3 was the best try to fight. If knight c3, rook a1. But okay, black is much better. Anyway. Likes knight a4. Yes, yes. Bogoljubow also was a big expert of Cambridge Spring variation. So I know that Harry Kasparov studied seriously his games against Alekhine in Cambridge Spring variation and other his games from Cambridge Spring. He played many times with black Cambridge Spring variation, knight bd7, queen a5, and usually successfully. So if somebody is interested with knight d7, queen a5 line, I strongly recommend to see games of Bogoljubow. Knight c3, rook d4. Okay, again a3, but a3 c5 now. Now a3 c5 rook is trapped. This is real tragedy for white. So rook d4, c5, and black has 3 passed pawn. It's too much. So it's obvious sign that black is winning here. g4 played Euwe. King f6. Of course, black has many winning moves here. a5, for example, looks like very good, but king f6, knight c6, king g5. So Bogoljubow wants to play king f4 and organize mating attack against white king. So not only pawns is important, but rook h8, h6, knight d8, bishop b3. Okay, white totally lost coordination of pieces. Black can do everything what they want. So a5 is, looks like the simplest. But king g7 he played, and rook d2. Again, a5 is possible, but rook d2, so now bishop a4 is important threat, so white should play it with knight, and where knight c6 he played. If knight b7, rook d7, white is totally losing. Knight c6, now he exchanged white knight, and knight d1. Okay, looks like black is totally winning because not only pawns, but also white has problem with his king. h4, bishop h3, knight c2. He doesn't want to push pawn. Also c4 looks like very natural, and then b5, knight c2. So he tries to win tactically. Knight d4 now is threat. Rook c7. Probably more stubborn was to play g5 now to prepare rook f6, but anyway, of course, c4 and c3, c2, it's winning. Rook c7, knight d4, bishop g2, and only now a5. So total domination. e5, a4, rook a7, c4. Many passed pawns. This is sign that white has no chances to survive here. Only some mating ideas. For example, he played bishop e4. I don't know why f5 he didn't play it. I want to understand at least. Because now if c2, f6, suddenly white wins. Mate. because rook a8 and bishop e4. This is mate, so black cannot play c2. So why Max Euwe didn't play f5? I want to understand. Maybe rook takes g2 and c2, but rook c7. Okay, we can check. So also knight e2 check is possible, maybe. Ah, yes, knight e2 check is interesting. Because now if king f1, for example, knight g3 check, white cannot go to e1 because black will take bishop. If king g1, now e4 square under control and black can play just c2, and after f6 king g6 and win. So after knight e2 and other moves also bad, because if king h2 or king f2, knight f4 is coming. So. What is this? Ah, spectators. Okay. So bishop e4 he played, and b5 played Bogoljubow. So c2 was possible, but after c2, only what white can do is give the piece. It's totally hopeless, looks like. So, for example, black can take with knight and play knight e3, and this position is totally winning. But Bogoljubow played b5, f5, mate in threats, f6 now is threat, but king f8. Black trumps are stronger. Because of e6. E6 is possible, but I don't think that e6 is problem for black. I can just play e3. What white will do here? Maybe just take and come back with the rook. What looks like losing as well for white. Okay, maybe. For example, rook e2 is possible. f5, b5. It looks like. Okay, maybe g5, some tricks. So probably some practical chances he wanted to avoid this. So he played b5. f5, king f8. So no mate, and black is ready to push their pawns. Or to play c2 and to win the piece. So situation looks like bad for white. Also rook e2 is threat in some way. But f6 is possible, but if f6, probably knight e6 was prepared. And all is protected, and black is prepared to play c2. This knight e6 surely was. Okay, maybe g5, so maybe white can fight, because c2, bishop takes c2, black cannot take the bishop. So I have feelings that before Bogoljubow could won more simple way. Even now, maybe he's still winning. Okay, maybe just take, and b4. If rook takes a4, b3, so it should be winning for black anyway. Because pawn, two dangers. But at least Black need to demonstrate accurate play. For example, g6 takes. And now if, for example, b3, rook h7 is unpleasant somehow. So probably not b3, probably something else is correct. c2 probably is correct. Rook h7, rook g2 now. Yes, I see, but I'm not sure that e6 is coming, and then rook c7 or rook b7. So it's not sure. Okay, let's try to be this. So, okay, b4 looks like good idea. g6 takes, and now what to play? c2 is possible, but after c2, rook a8 check, and black is losing pawn c2, and white has chances to survive. Maybe not so big chances. Okay, we can check. So c2 looks logical attempt. Rook a8, rook d8, this, b3. So only move for white is bishop d1, and now knight e6. Probably this is winning for black, because knight d4 is coming, and then a3. Yes, this is winning for black. So c2 is correct move. So totally forcing b3, bishop d1 is only move, because if other move with bishop a3 is coming, and knight e6, knight move, and nice move, and king f2 only reasonable move, but knight d4 white can resign, because b2 is coming or a3 is coming. Okay, e6 is possible. Knight takes e6, king e3, but knight c5 now. But okay, so even it's not so obvious yet how to win here. However, suddenly it's not so obvious. Maybe it's winning, but how? a3, for example, king c3, b2, for example, bishop c2. Maybe this is draw at all. Because if king f7, bishop b1, and black has no defense against knight a4, against king b4 suddenly. So, okay, but it looks it must be winning. So e6, knight takes e6 is correct, and king e3. Difficult to believe that this is draw, but no. Move 63. No, b4, b2. No, before b2, bishop c2. Yes. Okay. b1 and direct win. a3, bishop b1 with king. Maybe this is draw. King, knight c5, okay, king d4. But where is win? Knight b3 and knight c1, probably not. Okay, it's at least not obvious. But now even bishop g6 is possible. So, okay, how to win in this position? Okay, knight c5. Okay, king d2, knight e4, knight. No, okay, but this I can just take. This is so probably white has draw chances suddenly. Okay, difficult to believe, but okay, I need to think. Maybe this is winning somehow, but how? But black has idea b2. After this, knight c7 maybe. And my idea is knight b5, knight a3. Yes, or not. Maybe king d4 also. This, and after this king c3, and suddenly this is draw, because after this is draw. Black losing the pawn, and if queen, this queen b4 and draw again. So this not wins. Okay, but looks like very close. So hmm, so maybe black cannot win in this position. It's extremely difficult to believe it, frankly speaking. But but I don't see. Now knight c7. Yes, knight c7, but king d4. Same. Okay, so we see that Bogoljubow won this endgame in very difficult way. So probably he could won in much more simple way, because now it's depend. If for example there is win, it depends of my one move, and it require very good calculation. But okay, so Euwe missed his chance. So f6 was real chance and g5, and now okay, maybe black can do something else. But what else? G6 is threat, so it's stockfish. Okay, with stockfish everybody can be strong, or also in this end game we can check with Nalimov or 7 pieces, how many pieces white has. 7 pieces bases already. It's possible to check this position, or I mean this position. It's so only 7 pieces. There are 7 pieces bases. Okay, so it's possible to check if there is win for black or not, but okay, I will not do it now. Somebody who wants can do it. SZG, it means something like this. SZG. Uh, S, Y, Z, Y, G, Y. 7 pieces base. Software is this. Okay, but Euwe didn't play f6, which looks like best chance for white. He played rook a8, and now black king has more space. And now c2. No, not just base. It's from from internet. It's possible. And now, okay, now white has some pawns, but black king is safe, so it looks bad. And g5 not possible because after h takes g5, black has if takes knight f3 check. So if h5, even g4 is possible with mating threat on rook f2 mate. So rook f8, but okay, this is desperation. Black improved his king and game is over. b4, so simply push. g6, okay, d3. And Max Euwe resigned because after rook takes h6, b2 is coming, white cannot stop this pawn. So after 8 games, the score was 4.5 against 3.5 in favor of Yefim Bogoljubow. And in next report, I will show two final games from this match. Thanks for subscription, thanks for your attention, for your answers, and for support of my channel. I hope it was interesting, and I will try to do my best during my next streams. Okay, good night. Bye.